Hi, this is Wendy Lynn Beacock with High Vibe Vegan, and I want to share with you some tips about how to stay full and never feel hungry on a vegan diet. Oftentimes, somebody will switch to a vegan diet and you hear, oh my gosh, I'm hungry all the time, or every time I eat, I'm hungry right after I eat, or those type of things, especially if you've come from a meat diet. So I want to address how to always make sure that you are feeling full and that you get plenty to eat and that you're always feeling satisfied on a vegan diet. I'll keep this short. There's about 5 little tips. So the first tip is make sure you're eating enough calories. Oftentimes, when you switch to a vegan diet, I mean, it's a lean diet. So, I mean, we've got fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, things of that nature. So, if you're coming from pizza and Coke and garbage and all of that, now on the one hand, if you need to lose some weight, great, that will work. But in general, it's a lower calorie diet. There's not as much fat in it. There's a lot of fiber, so it's a really fabulous diet. So make sure you're eating enough calories because sometimes people swap things like perhaps meat, a big piece of meat, they'll swap for beans or something else, but they're not getting the same amount of calories, so they're going to feel a little bit more hungry. So just make sure you're eating enough calories. It's really as simple as that. It's not that vegan food's not satisfying. It's amazingly satisfying. As we all know, it's fabulous. So just make sure you're getting enough calories. You have to pay attention to it a little bit more in the beginning once you've transitioned. And later on, it's very second nature. It's very easy. But just in the beginning, just make sure that you get enough calories for your calorie needs. And if you're an athlete, an endurance athlete, a power athlete, anything like that, just pay attention. And chances are you already know a little bit about making sure that you're meeting your nutritional needs. So that's the thing. If we're not getting enough nutrition, sometimes we still feel hungry. So just pay attention to that. And it's pretty easy to deal with and calculate. You can even go on myfitnesspal.com. I love that site. And just track it. Find out what your macros are, your protein, carbs, and fats, and track for a couple weeks to a month and get, just have an idea of what you're eating and making sure you're hitting your calorie and nutrient requirements. So that's that. That's one. Number 2 is sugar and fat. And this is just a general diet tip across the board, is that when you eat lots of sugar, so when you switch to a vegan diet, sometimes the minute you switch, you think because it's vegan, everything's fine as long as it's vegan. And there are a lot of vegans that think like that. And it's kind of a junk food vegan, right? As long as it's vegan, it's fine. And that's the mentality. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. And that's not what I subscribe to. I'm more of a plant-based diet, very much about the nutritional value and fitness and all of that. So it's not, we've seen vegans who aren't healthy or who are overweight and all of that. And that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a high vibe vegan. So what you want to do is you really want to be careful about your sugar and your fat intake. It's been said to keep your fat down to about 15% of your diet. And I love that number. That's the number I use for most of the time, is just keeping it right around that 15%. You can even go down to 10%, might be a little low. But, and once again, you can track that on MyFitnessPal. But the thing about fat and sugar, and when I say sugar, fruit sugar, like in a whole piece of fruit, not a problem. But as far as agave and maple syrup and all kinds of sugars that spike your blood sugar, what happens with sugars is they it's easy for me to say, right? They spike your blood sugar, and it doesn't matter how good it is for you. And yes, some sugars are better than others, but at the end of the day, you don't want to be eating lots of maple syrup and agave and all of those things. Instead, just keep it simple. Have some date sugar with real whole dates, or a piece of some blueberries or apples or something that's completely natural and that's full of fiber and water content, so that you're having natural sugar. But you don't want to be having other types of sugars, because I don't care what they are, they're gonna cause spikes in your blood sugar level. And when your blood goes crashing back down, it causes cravings. So even if you're kind of being healthy about it, I would really limit and maybe just have one little thing a week that's something kind of indulgent that, you put your syrup or your whatever on. But other than that, I wouldn't do it, because that does cause cravings. fat, high intake of fat can cause cravings. You get really used to that heavy, fatty feel, and it's not healthy. So if you avoid those two things, and it is absolutely miraculous. I've done it myself. I've been doing it where I have very little fat and sugar, and what I found, and this is even very recent experimentation on myself, is that my cravings are just gone. And if you are somebody who's been struggling or dieting or anything, that is just like a miraculous way to completely get control of your hunger and your cravings, is just stop, really lay low on sugar and fat, and have it only come from natural sources, and perhaps a little bit of nuts and seeds and avocado. So that's a good tip. So run with that one. The next one is to, and I love this one, to always have food with you. I meal prep at night. I literally walk out the door with this little, it's almost like an ice chest. It looks like a gym bag. And I've got my ice in it, and then I've got oatmeal with raspberries and a little bit of stevia. And then I've got my cut up apple, and I've got a protein shake, and I've got things for the day. And that's important. You really want to have really healthy, really clean food with you. And not just stuff that not just a bar. I don't know about you, but when I'm really hungry, I don't want just a bar. I want more. So have something delicious that you can keep cold and bring it with you. You might be thinking, oh, that sounds like a drag. It's not a drag. I mean, being healthy is not a drag. Preparing and caring for your body is not a drag. It's fabulous, and it's fun, and it's something you've got to get into a routine of. But once you get into the routine of, it's so worth it. It's so worth it, and your body will thank you. So never leave the house without a little handful of nuts and seeds and some apples and protein shakes and fun things and vegan things, that if you get in a jam or you're stuck and you haven't eaten in a while, you've got food. You don't have to drive to a drive-through and eat garbage, or, worse yet, eat a burger somewhere, or kind of fall off the wagon because you're so ravenously hungry. So just prepare ahead of time and make sure you're taking care of your needs. But the other thing about that as well is, when you're eating every couple hours some small meals, you also prevent cravings, and you make it so that your body is functioning really well all day, and you've got enough glucose for your brain, and that you can think straight. So that's the other one. And then the fourth one, can I read my own writing? I really don't think so. Yeah, this is a simple one. Sometimes you're not hungry. Sometimes you think you're hungry and you're really just thirsty. So that's always something to think about. I encourage you to I have a hydro flask, and I literally bring it with me. And you can get a hydro flask on Amazon, and it's something that keeps your water cold all day. And I bought a 40-ounce one so that I know I'm always at least drinking 40 ounces. So I bring it with me, and I make myself finish it by the end of the day. And then, of course, you should have almost more than that, but that's a good start, and it's not so big that you don't look like you're walking around with a water trough. But it's a good start to bring a 40-ounce with you, so you've always got nice, clean water. And again, if you're feeling hungry, sometimes it's enough to just have water because your body just wants to hydrate, okay? So that's the other one. And the last tip is sometimes you're not hungry as well. Sometimes when you become vegan, when you eat meat, it's funny. It's like eating a lead anchor. Meat is so heavy, and it's not till you've gone vegan and then had a heavier meal, or if you've ever gone vegan or at least tried vegan a little bit and then you went back and had some meat, it's just like you feel like you've eaten an anvil, if you know what an anvil is. But it does. It's just unbelievable how heavy meat is, and it stays with you forever. And we all know that meat can take anywhere from 24 to 48 hours to get through your digestive system. So it's just like rotting and putrefying. I mean, meat is very hard on your body and very heavy, and you feel it. And, on the plus side, I know some people go, yeah, but I can have a piece of meat and I'm stuffed the rest of the day. I understand that. But what's beautiful about being vegan is that you have something to eat and you're light. You feel light. You feel like at any given time you could go on a cycle ride or a cycle ride, or running, or hiking, or working out somewhere. It's a very light feeling, and so some of it's getting used to a little bit of a lighter feeling in your body. You're not always, if you're not into that, you're not having a coma every time you eat. And I know we can all relate to this, having those big junky meat, fatty, dairy meals. where when you're finished, you're just like, you can't do anything. All you can do is sleep or sit there in front of the TV. Whereas on a vegan diet, you have tremendous energy because what you're eating is so alive and so vibrant, and especially plant based, not just any vegan food, but clean plant based vegan food. So I think some of it's getting a little bit used to not being uncomfortable with your stomach not being full. Because I've done that before where I'm thinking I'm really not hungry. It's just I'm used to being so full. And on a vegan diet, you just always feel lighter. And pretty soon you get really used to that, and anything else is very uncomfortable. So just don't mistake one for the other. Feeling light doesn't mean you're still hungry. So you just pay attention to your body's signals, and eventually your body will get in tune with itself and back in alignment and back healthy and giving you proper signals of what your body needs. So that's it. Those are just the 5 tips to just staying nice and full and feeling amazing on a vegan diet. So if you like it, give me a thumbs up. If not, don't do anything. just walk away. No, I'm kidding. Have a beautiful day. Signing out. Bye-bye.